Welcome to the Practice Podcast, a show created by lawyers to help lawyers in life and business without all the complicated lawyer language. Let's welcome Bast Amron founders and your hosts, Jeff Bast and Brett Amron.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Brett.
How are you?
Welcome to the Practice Podcast.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've recorded.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back in action.
Yeah, we've had a lot of travel.
A lot of travel, and we haven't crossed paths as often as we generally do. So
yeah, we both were out. I think between you and me, it was about a month.
Yeah, I missed you.
Yeah, we hadn't been here for a while. So
good to have you.
Look how
back.
Excited we sound.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a Monday, so it's a little hard to rev the engine. I'm still on my first coffee of the day, so first of many.
All right,
probably not
let's
many. Really.
Let's do it.
Usually one. So, Brett,
yeah,
who inspires you to be better?
Other than you?
Other than me, yes. I mean, that's obvious, right?
I mean, I'm going to go with the corny answer, but I'd say my wife and children.
Nice.
Inspire me to be better every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing.
I'm going to bottle that. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to send it to them. How about you?
Little piece. I would say the same thing. I would say my wife is.
He's going to try and be better than me now and like expand on it.
No, yeah,
go ahead. That's okay. No.
She does. She truly does inspire me to be. She's a great person. She's an amazing listener. She helps everyone. She allows people to be seen, I think, in a unique way. And it's a special gift. So,
well, she has many special gifts.
Yes, she does.
One of which is being your wife.
That would be probably very low on the list of her special gifts.
Well, no, it's a special gift that she can, anyway.
That she can tolerate.
That's right.
Being.
That's right.
All right, I'll accept that. All right, we have a guest today.
We do? I think we should bring her in quickly.
Amy Perez. Amy is the Associate Dean for Career and Professional Development at the University of Miami School of Law, where she oversees the design and execution of innovative programs and initiatives to enhance engagement with students and ensure the delivery of high-quality career and professional development services. Amy has worked in higher education for the past 17 years, advising law students on a wide range of matters relating to their academic, personal, and professional success. She joined the University of Miami School of Law in 2010, and she served numerous roles there, including as a career advisor, director of student life, and assistant dean of students. And prior to working in higher education, Amy was a double Gator and undergrad and law school, and she practiced law. She was doing the Gator chomp.
Oh, no, you're not supposed to say that. She works at UM.
And she practiced law as an attorney, focusing primarily on labor and employment law before making the shift. She has also held numerous leadership positions with the National Association for Law Placement, NALP, and she currently serves on its board of directors. And in 2010, she earned NALP's Award of Distinction for Professional Development and Training. And in 2019, she earned NALP's Service Excellence Award. Welcome, Amy.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, how does it feel to be in the room with, it's got to be the most famous UM Law alum?
Is that you, Brett Amron?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Hello. I mean,
it feels really good.
It does, right?
It does. It does.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Is there a Brett Amron library or anything yet? Because you might be able to negotiate that during this recording.
We'd probably have to do less recordings and more focus on the work.
More
billable work, yeah. Welcome, Amy. It's nice to have you here. So tell us what brought you to where you are today. Why did you get started in more academia and working in academia and sort of career placement, working on students in the law school area?
Yeah. So I did practice for a number of years and I enjoyed it a lot.
Was that down here?
Yes, in Miami, yeah.
What was your focus?
Labor and employment.
Labor and employment.
For the most part, labor and employment,
right.
yeah. And, about, 5 or 6 years in, I kind of felt like I wanted to do something different. I felt called to do something different. And I had a conversation with Abby Bunt, who I know everybody in Miami knows,
Abby
right?
Bunt, yeah.
And I remembered that in college, I was a peer pre-law advisor in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences at UF. And I had done some other sort of guidance, counseling, coaching things in high school and whatnot. And I always sort of felt drawn to work with students and work in the higher ed setting. Right. And I said, okay, what am I going to be when I grow up? So I called UF, the career office, and I said, can I get access to the job board? Can I see what else is out there?
Right.
And I found a job posting for an associate director position at Nova Law. And this was a Friday at 4:30. And I read the description and I went, I could do that. And called them and said, hey, like this position looks like it's about to expire. And I want to, before I sit down and do this like online application, is it still open? And they said, it is, but you need to apply soon. So I sat down. I think I poured myself an adult beverage and because it was 5 o'clock somewhere at that point.
Right.
And, filled out this whole long, complicated thing. And I got an interview, I think that Monday. And I think I had an offer that Tuesday, and the rest is history.
And that was it. Like you just...
That was your path. That started the path.
That was it.
Yeah.
Like,
and you had been practicing, you said 5 or 6 years. And you just were looking for a change, not necessarily a career change? Or
yeah, no, I was looking for a career change.
Placement for jobs. But
yes.
Like, were you originally thinking, okay, another law firm or another practice? Or was this, okay, I need to get out of practicing law?
It wasn't so much like I need to get out, right? It was, I wanted to do something that was more people oriented and less kind of like behind the computer, right? And I was practicing mostly in federal court, which of course is
there's a lot of drafting.
A lot of drafting. And I just felt like I wanted to do something that was a little bit more action oriented, a little bit more people oriented. And, I considered like, do I go into, since I was a labor and employment lawyer, do I go into like, like coaching and that sort of thing? I was a psychology major. Maybe I'll do some like, what do they call it? Like not occupational, industrial coaching and whatnot. And this just, it fell in my lap. But when it fell in my lap, I just knew instantly that it was like the perfect career for me.
What was it about the job description at Nova, if you can remember back that far back? Sorry, I'm racking your brain a little bit, but that really spoke to you and said, man, I could do this and this sounds great.
Yeah. So the focus on relationship building, the focus on helping people become the best versions of themselves. One of the reasons that I didn't, go on and get like, my master's or PhD in psychology was because I didn't really want to do more of the clinical aspects of that. But I definitely knew I wanted to work with people and help develop people.
Right.
And then there was the networking aspect of it as well. It just, it all just felt like a really good fit. And then I was at Nova for about a year and a half and immediately plugged into the local, that's how I actually met May Lynn and plugged into the folks who were working on the law firm and the law school side and met the person who ran the career office at University of Miami for many, many, many years. May have been there when you were there.
Oh, that's many. That's a long time ago, yeah.
She was there for a long time and expressed my interest early on in perhaps making a move because I was from Miami. And when a position opened up at she called me and said, do you want to come? And I said, absolutely. And that was 15 years ago.
Wow.
And I was in the career office at for about 2 years. And then a position opened up on student affairs. And I was immediately drawn to that because I wanted to have sort of like a seat at the bigger table of what is the student experience and be able to have an impact on the student experience more holistically. And just kind of held a bunch of different roles within student affairs, most recently as the assistant dean of students. And then when the person who was in the career dean position at retired after, again, like 25 years of being there, they asked me if I would step in to the role. And I said, well, I really like being the assistant dean of students. And there are aspects of that job that I still miss. So I'll do it on an interim basis. And, I can kind of see if I like it. You can decide if you still want to do a search. And 6 months into it said, like, no, now we're like really building something. This was just coming out of COVID. We had a lot of turnover in the office. Right. It was a time to really have a fresh start in the office and bring some fresh ideas in, and then again, the rest is history as it pertains to that role as well. Yeah.
So you've been through a lot of changes. You've been with since 2010, right? And so 15 years. What has changed among the students from 2010 to today, besides COVID? I think COVID's in the rearview mirror.
That's a loaded question.
Well, I'm curious how. Yeah. So I think higher education in general has become more, utilitarian. Like it's more just focused on the test and the job and the next step instead of growth in general. But I don't know. That's me.
No,
I'm far removed from it.
You're not wrong, and especially when you look at the ways in which at least the big law recruiting timeline has accelerated, right? And then that's had knockoff effects to other segments of the employer base. Students these days are having to decide what kind of law they want to practice, right? Beyond just transactional litigation, but even deciding, I mean, in your first semester of law school, a lot of times you don't have the context to understand whether you want to do transactional or litigation work. You don't even have a sense that bankruptcy is actually a really nice hybrid between those two.
Right.
You're still adjusting to the rigors of law school, to what is inevitably the most difficult thing you've ever done, right? Academically and as a result personally. And students, like right now, we have 1Ls who, again, haven't even taken a final exam yet. And they're already having to apply for, if they're looking at big law, which not everyone who comes into law school will go to big law, but a lot of people coming into law school want to explore that, right? So
or they think they want.
They think they want it.
Right. Yep.
Right. They think they want it. And maybe they'll go do it for a few years and decide, like you guys did, right? And decide they want to do something else, and it's all good. But they're coming in and they're already having to apply for 1L positions in big law firms now, today, as we speak. And some big law firms are recruiting, also using that as a vehicle to recruit for their 2L summer programs. And some are actually recruiting outright for their 2L summer programs.
So they're recruiting 1Ls in November. We're recording this in November.
Yes.
And they're recruiting the 1Ls for the 2L summer.
Correct.
Not for a 1L summer,
Correct.
but for the following
Correct.
summer.
And or, yes.
Wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it puts a lot of pressure on them.
Right.
To have to balance learning how to read a case, learning how to, brief a case, just learning how to be a law student and get out there and network and, understand the difference between these firms. And because the firms want to know why us, right? And it's like, you all look the same. Right?
Well, to somebody at that level, right?
Did you get that, Christine?
Yeah.
Well, to somebody at that level, I mean, that's understandable, right?
Right.
Whether you're, we don't have to name the firms, but any number of big law firms, whether they're Miami offices or New York offices, to somebody who is a 1L is going to look generally the same.
Right.
They have no idea, nor should they. Right. And like you said, they don't know what they want to do. I mean, I thought I wanted to be a corporate lawyer when I started law school. I was a finance major. I was going to be a corporate lawyer. I was going to be an in-house lawyer. That's what I wanted to do. Until I got my first job working locally for a pretty high-profile criminal defense lawyer who also did some civil stuff. And I got the litigation bug and wanted to be in the courtroom. So, you have no idea, nor should you. I agree with you. But I guess the flip side to that is maybe there's some opportunity to explore that through the law clerk program and see if that's something that you want to do or not do. Is that, I guess the question that would be, do you have to pick which area you want to sort of apply for? Or is it just, I want to apply to be a law clerk in their program?
Most big law firms these days are not doing a rotational program. Their summer associate program is having to pick, do I want to do corporate? Do I want to do litigation? Do I want to do capital markets? Do I want to do IP? There are a few that offer a rotational program, and I think everyone wishes that more did, but they're trying to hit their yields, and they're anticipating where their hiring needs are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera, years out. So they are really kind of having to commit at a very early point.
Man, that's early. That's almost like, high school seniors or juniors having to commit to what they want to major in college when they apply.
Right.
To me, that's akin to that.
And when you think about the ways in which this impacts those who are like not well networked, right?
Right. If you're
not from here,
if you're from the community or your family, you have lawyers in your family, maybe you're a little bit more dialed in, but many of them are probably first-time, college grads in their family.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, at University of Miami, I think it's 54% of our student body is a first-gen law, will be a first-time law grad.
Yeah. That's tough. And also, I would imagine it changes just once. So if you're a 1L, you get an offer, you're barely through your first semester, you already have a job, and just must change so much for that person, but also for all the other peers who are like, oh, geez, so-and-so already has a job. I need to just like you're saying, this accelerates the process for everyone. Everyone starts panicking a little bit and thinking, oh, I need to have a job now, right?
Absolutely. And we actually call this the phenomenon of upward comparisons. And I will share this with students, right? They're like, everybody has a job.
I like that. Yeah.
We had some folks from the counseling center come over and talk with our student affairs and career team about just to help us, right, meet students where they are, because this can be an anxiety-provoking process. Yeah. And they shared this phenomenon of upward comparisons where it's like, no, this is a real thing, right? Like you will think that everyone is doing better than you. Everyone else has this thing that you seek. And in fact, of course, that's not the case. But the people who haven't landed their job yet are not going on LinkedIn and posting, I'd like to share that I haven't found my job yet. Right. Yeah.
If anyone's out there looking, let me know.
Yeah. You don't see those posts.
Right. No, of course.
So, yeah.
And they also are taking better vacations because they see that on Instagram, because everyone, right. So this is this is a problem that's pervasive in all forms of social media, but now it's trickling through the law schools.
Right. Which is actually another answer to your question. And what are the ways in which the student body has changed is like the impact of social media.
Phones,
right.
Yeah.
And phones and the ways in which that, distracts us.
Well, and AI.
As a human race. AI.
Chat GPT has to,
Let's go. We did it.
Let's do it.
So AI.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, and we've talked about that here in sort of, having to adopt, some measures, right? Protective measures here with not just with chat, but I mean, there are lots of programs we use that have AI built in and all that. That's one component. And then there's chat. Knowing that the younger generation that's coming in, whether they're law clerks or whether they're first year lawyers coming out of law school, are using chat. Now, whether or not they're using it, whether they're using it the right way, they're using it, right? I'm not suggesting that they're using it and cheating. That is not by, what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they're using it. They're using it in some form or fashion. Yeah. And so how does the school look at that? And I'm not asking for policy. I'm not asking for a policy statement by UM and the law school, but how does that impact your role in dealing with the students relative to their careers? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we are very AI forward at UM. We have an AI lab, the MILA, the Miami AI Law Lab. Yeah. And the guy who runs it is phenomenal. His name is Or Cohen Sasson, and he has developed tools and resources for students, for faculty, for staff. And just to give you an example, one of the tools that he's developed is called Class Insights, right? So students will walk into class, the professor will give a prompt, and they will sit at their computer, and for the first 10 minutes of class, they will respond, in essay fashion to this prompt. They will submit it. It will immediately go in, and on the screen, boom, 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 starts coming like anonymized, right?
Right.
What are the issues that the students spotted? What are the issues that the students didn't spot? Wow. Right? So it's immediately giving the professor feedback on the ways in which he or she is hitting the mark in what they're teaching and areas where they need to dig a little bit deeper. And then the student is getting individualized feedback immediately.
Right. Without anyone else knowing
on their
that
submission.
It's that. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
That puts the onus on the student then, in theory, to then go to the professor and say, I missed the mark. Here's, because it's anonymized, right? I missed the mark and I need some assistance, right? Because the professor is not going to know who that person was.
No, absolutely not. Right. No, it's been great. I mean, they're developing a Blue Booking citation AI tool. I know. Everybody's eyes light up when I say that. It's
nightmarish. Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we will have it. You can buy it, I'm sure, soon.
God,
and
let's not turn our podcast into, let's not talk about Blue Booking.
No,
reader, if you're still with, reader, listener, if you're still with us.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's changing. I mean, it's just changing what the skill set is that's needed for law students and then first year lawyers when they graduate. And the expectations is not, I need you to know how to cite this. Now you have to know because you have to check it.
Right.
But you're not going to need to anymore.
Right.
Because you have AI that in theory there's going to be tools that know how to do that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But the other piece of this is that AI can be used to generate resume, cover letter, things like that. And then obviously there's some falsehoods in some of that. I remember my daughter was saying she got a resume. She's a college grad, but she got a resume from someone, and this person claimed to have, won awards at a certain organization. And my daughter happened to know someone involved in that organization. And they were like, no, this person's not even in this group.
Well, I mean, the only thing I'll say on that is, I mean, that was done before AI.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
AI just made it easier.
Made it easy.
It made it much easier.
Right? I mean, people were doing that before, but I hear you.
But it's a little easier to look good on paper now.
Yes.
Sure. You can write a good cover letter. And, we always used to use cover letters as a weed out. If it had typos and, just poor grammar or whatever, that's an easy weed out. But now, every cover letter is perfect.
It's perfect.
Right. So we're having to
or at least it should be these days. Right.
Right.
So we're having to develop for ourselves new methods to interview candidates and to sort of dive deep into that and to figure out, what their experience really is and whether or not they're going to be a good fit for the position that we're looking for.
Like maybe having writing assessments as part of the interview process. I mean, certainly employers are doing that. Yeah. And I think that's totally fair.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Writing assessments,
with handwriting.
Right. Without a computer.
or just disabled.
Right. Or even just argument. Right. Here's a fact pattern. Here's the issue. We'll be back in 15 minutes.
Like they do with the state attorney and public defender's office.
I was a prosecutor when I came out, and that was my interview process. Yeah. Was 3 prosecutors would hammer me with hypotheticals. I mean, it was a great way to sort of test people, and I do think that that is also a good way to do it. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. So, I want to dive into a subject. I don't know if I want to move away from AI for a minute. I know everyone can wake up, but where is to me, the career focus for law schools when I was there was not as much as it is today, and that's probably a testament to you and your team and as well. But I think that there's a hole that needs to be filled for students coming out of law school, right? The old adage when we went to law school was, what do you learn in law school? And it's like, well, I learned where to find stuff.
Learn how to think like a lawyer.
That's it, right? That's it, right? And I think that students are much more prepared now to practice than they were back then. But I still think there's some holes, and that's being filled with practical work experience. Law, we talked about, right, interviewing for law clerk positions and all summer associate positions. Is that sort of the focus, at least at UM, of trying to get students as much practical experience as possible while they're there in the 3 years in order to help them when they're out?
Well, I mean, there's so many things that students can do to try to fill that skills gap, right? We have a really robust, and not just UM, most schools, right, have a really robust externship program where you can get credit for working in-house, for example. The only place you really can't do it is in a for-profit law firm.
Okay.
But in-house, government agencies, public interest organizations, judges' chambers.
Right.
And then a lot of our students do work part-time during the school year and obviously during the summer. A lot of our classes have moved, especially on the transactional skills side. We've developed everyone knows about our litigation skills program, right? But we've also developed a really phenomenal transactional skills program. And in those courses, they are largely simulation-based. So that's really giving students the sort of reps that you need to fill that skills gap. Yeah, I think those are the main ways.
Okay. I know. To me, I think that's fantastic. I think law students need to learn how to practice law and not just think like a lawyer.
Right.
And so I'm glad to hear that that's more of a focus. What about the business of law? Right, from a career perspective, what is UM or what is a career resource center doing in order to help students on the business side of law? Because, that also was at least back when I was there. Maybe it was available and I just didn't take advantage of it. So I'm not disparaging UM at all, and things have evolved. So what can students expect, or what can we see from students when they come out after 3 years in terms of the business side of law?
Yeah. So, it's interesting because there's so much that law students are doing in the 3 years that they're there, right? They're in classes, they're doing externships, they're working part-time.
That's a lot,
They're doing moot court, they're doing trial team, they're doing all these things. And the days go quickly, right? The years go quickly and the credits go quickly.
Yeah.
We absolutely offer business of law courses. but they're electives, right?
Sure.
So, not everyone is taking them. And, most students are not, or most grads are not going to hang their own shingle right out of law school.
Sure.
So now they
Do you know
still
that
need
number?
to, it's in terms of hanging their own shingle, it's really
It's small.
low. Yeah.
But it's not just necessarily that. It's also the business development.
Absolutely.
Right? And understanding how firms are operated. Even if you're working at a firm, which I agree is most people, right? That to me is more the business of law as well.
And understanding the law firm economics and how this all works. And surely having an understanding of that is going to help you, if you do everything else right, advance through the ranks of your organization that much faster, right? And have credibility. And so, I think every law school in America could do more on that. It's just a matter of finding the space for it in students' curriculum, right?
Yeah.
And be, the uptake on it when sometimes I think as humans, not just students, we have the tendency to focus sort of like what's, right in front of them.
Next, right?
Yeah, what's next.
Yeah.
But no, I think that our students, one of the things I have seen over the years, and especially recently, is this like higher level of savviness of the students who are coming in. Yeah. And they really do have, I think, an appetite for that type of programming.
Yeah.
And we do programming on it as well. Yeah.
Do you notice a difference? Are there more students who are taking time off or either second career students or people who have taken time off between college and law school? I don't know if it's...
Yeah. I mean, some schools, that's kind of like their specialty, right? Is recruiting people who have, or this is like a second career for them or more of like the business school model. For us, I think it's about 50% of students have taken a year off in between. Now, whether they were working or,
Right.
just studying for the LSAT and doing a part-time job or what have you. That's actually, I said to our admissions dean the other day that I'd love to get data on how many people were actually working during that year.
Or what's the average age of the incoming first year, 1L?
Yeah. I mean, it's in the early to mid 20s as you would expect. Yeah. But it does span from like 20 to 39, I think was last year.
And I think part of that is based economic conditions, right? I mean, sometimes if the economy is not as good, people tend to want to go to law school and stay in school longer. More people, not the people that want to be lawyers go to law school, right? But we always see that. If the economy's not good, then more people go. And
they're countercyclical,
Right. Yeah. So I think that you're going to have some older people that may go back and, things like that.
Yeah.
But I would say that, I know, I don't remember. Mine was probably mid to upper 20s. It's like stuck in my head when I was in law school. Like our class was like mid to upper 20s, but I don't remember what the economy was.
You guys are older. You guys are old.
Well, if I'm old, then,
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have any advice for young, maybe college students who are thinking about law school or law school might be in their future or they haven't pulled that trigger yet?
Yeah. I would say a few different things. Shadow a lawyer, right? Find a few different lawyers to shadow, spend a day with them, and learn what it's like to really be a lawyer, to really practice law.
Yeah.
Because I think people have a sense of what it is. It's suits or it's, you're going. I never watched the show, but that's what the kids say these days.
We used to say Matlock.
Matlock, right. Exactly. Right.
Big deal.
Yeah. Right. So, I would say shadow. I would say, you have to enjoy reading and writing, and you have to have the sort of the mental stamina, the reading stamina to sit down with you and a book and a highlighter for hours on end. Like those are like the non-sexy things about law school and practicing law that a lot of people, unless you're from a family of lawyers or something like that, you don't really know. I would say because of the ways in which the job seeking timeline has accelerated, it is good to have a sense of, do I think I would want to do litigation work? Do I think I'd want to do transactional work? Again, and that's where maybe talking with lawyers.
Right, shadowing a lawyer and
would help.
Yeah.
What about law students? Are they, besides come and talk to you, right? Any advice for the law students who are out there, either whether at UM or other law schools?
I would say, first of all, use your career services office.
Use the resources available.
Take up space, right? Like, so often it's like, oh, I didn't want to bother you, or oh, I didn't have a job.
I think they don't know that they're supposed to use you, right?
Right. No, that is one thing we do a lot of outreach to students. We even have we have office hours every day where you don't even have to have an appointment. You can just come in and get answers to your questions. And then one day a week, we actually do that out on the courtyard card on the bricks, as we call it, right?
Yeah, the brick.
So you don't even have to come into the office.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of schools do that too. So use us as a resource, and then, allow us to connect you with attorneys who are practicing so that you can get a sense of what areas of law. Because again, not everybody's going to get, hired through this big law process.
Right.
And for most students, there will be a longer runway to continue to explore. I mean, and to that end, I would say, keep your chin up. Right? If the mountain was smooth, you couldn't climb it. You have to just
gotta have some grit.
You gotta have grit. You gotta have resilience. You gotta, pick yourself up. I mean, you're gonna face inevitable ups and downs in life and the practice.
But before that, I would say first year of law school was hard. It was harder, obviously, than the second and third year. But first year was learning all of these new terms and learning how to read a case, right? How to even act in the classroom.
What's dicta? What's
in the seminar with dealing with a different professor and learning all of that, right? And I would say that required resilience and grit, which, hopefully continues to build. And then as a lawyer, you get knocked down all the time. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Get back up.
It's inevitable. In fact, I mean, to a degree, you want it to happen.
Correct.
Because if you don't, then you're not going to learn better and stronger. Right. And I mean, that's how you grow, right? So I guess one last thought on that, which is it's okay to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right? Like sit in the gray. I heard you say it used to be black and white. Now you're in the gray, right?
And sit in the discomfort.
It's okay.
Growth happens outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's as a society in general. Like we don't want to, and it's because of the phones and everything else, right? We can immediately distract ourselves. Oh man, the people who can sit in the gray and withstand that gray area of not having the answer in right in front of them. Yeah.
They'll be successful.
They're at a competitive advantage, right?
Advantage if they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Competitive disadvantage to not be able to do that. Right.
And always want that. And you're like, oh no, I got to keep going. I got to, right. Yeah. No. It's okay if there's mistakes. Obviously not too big and commit malpractice, but it's okay. And then, it's what you do from there.
Exactly.
And learning and challenging and being okay with the discomfort.
Yeah.
It's only a mistake if you don't learn from it.
It's okay to lose, just don't lose the lesson.
Right.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, let's go. We can
we should put these up on a wall. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Gators are playing Canes. Who are you rooting for? I mean, that's okay. I'm not to do that to you. I'm not going to do it to you.
I mean, here's what I will say.
Comes in from
UM, doing the Gator chop a minute ago.
Right.
I spent 7 years in Gainesville. I think I went to 2 games the entire time.
No.
I know football. I understand the rules of football and all that.
But it's not a football school anymore.
Okay, well, you're right.
We're a basketball school.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
In fact, we beat UM last night. Just saying for the record in basketball.
I think that's a good place to end.
It was a whipping. It was a whipping. Yeah.
I want success for both schools.
No, that's
both teams.
Well played.
It's good for recruiting, right?
Well played. Well played.
Success for all of the law students.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. There's room for everyone.
Amy, this is great. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
If you're listening and you enjoyed this, show us some love. How about a 5-star review or subscribe to the show and share the show with your friends and family. And we'll see you next time on the Practice Podcast.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Christine, thank you.
For more information on this show and other resources, visit fastamron.com and connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram @FastAmron.